Hi, thanks for stopping by again. Today's beer I've actually already opened. I was sipping away on it with my sort of food and decided afterwards that I would make a review of it as well. It's Greene King IPA. It comes in this huge bottle. This bottle is 660 millilitres. It's clear glass, so you can see straight through there to the beer. I know a lot of people like this from a sort of aesthetic viewpoint, but from sort of a viewpoint of sort of quality, it can be quite bad because the beer can get light struck. As I've mentioned before in sort of other reviews, the light can get to the beer and make it taste skunky. You get that skunky taste, the off smell. But anyway, this one seems to be fine. It's obviously clearing off the shelves in the supermarket quickly enough. It's called an IPA. It's Greene King IPA. It's not really an IPA though. It doesn't really have any of that sort of heavy hop character, any of that peppery, zesty, sort of citrusy, big, huge hops that you expect from an IPA. It's more of a dominantly sort of malty base, I think, personally. Nor is it strong enough. Like I say, it's sort of 3.6%. It's not strong enough to be a textbook example of an IPA at all. IPAs are typically sort of 5% and up, really. But really, I think that's down to sort of history. I mean, there were some beers that were, the IPAs, the ones that were brewed for back home in England. They were still kind of called IPAs, but really they weren't. They were sort of weaker versions brewed for back home, because they didn't need to be that hoppy or that strong. You know, they weren't making any sea journeys anywhere, and need that sort of preservative that the hops and alcohol give. So they've sort of been landed with this name, but really they're sort of typical session bitters, or typical session IPAs. They're weak in alcohol, and they're sort of a typical English bitter, really. But I'm going to pour a little bit more in here to get that head back up. Just the remainder that was in the bottle here. It's a nice sort of creamy head that it produces, and it does stay fairly long. Does lace around the glass quite well. Very, very mild hoppy smell, really. I mean, there's not any of that huge peppery, grapefruity, citrusy hops there at all. I can smell more of a slightly crackery, kind of biscuity malt, really, more than anything. Yeah, I think it's more of a malty dominant palate, really. I mean, there's nothing particularly interesting about it, really. It's a typical session bitter. It does have that bitterness at the back, but not, like I say, not that huge hoppy bitterness that you expect from an IPA. And you'd probably be disappointed if you were expecting this to taste like, if you knew what an IPA tastes like and you were expecting those sort of characteristics, you'd probably be quite disappointed. But if you approach it from the view that it's a session bitter, or a normal sort of normal pale ale, then you probably wouldn't be so disappointed, because it is more of that sort of style, really. This is very, very common in my area. It's the #1 selling cask ale in Britain. It sells something like one in, I can't remember, hang on a minute, I did sort of look, one in sorry about this, I'm just bringing up the website here. Never mind, I can't find it, but it's something like 1 in 5 or something, 1 in 10 pints or something is an IPA. 1 in 10 cask ale served in Britain is an IPA or something like that. It's immensely popular. They're probably the biggest regional brewer in Britain. Greene King are pretty big, and they own a lot of other breweries as well. They own the brand Moorland as well, which is Old Speckled Hen. Some of you might have had Old Speckled Hen before. That's actually brewed by Greene King now. It was an Oxford beer by Moorland, but it was bought by Greene King, and it's now brewed in Bury St Edmunds, Suffolk, which is where Greene King are based. They're not a bad brewery. They're not my favourite beers personally by taste, but it's okay. This is okay as far as a session beer is concerned. You can drink quite a lot of it. It's quite weak. It gets the job done. You know, it's interesting enough to keep me, occupied for an evening out with my mates or something. But sort of other than that, it's nothing particularly special. It's just a typical bitter, really. But anyway, yeah. Thanks for stopping by. If you do see this, give it a go, and you'll soon realise that it's not really an IPA. It's more of a pale ale. But anyway, yeah, it's not a bad beer. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. So thanks for stopping by, and see you again soon. Cheers.